In the tumultuous flow of life, we often find ourselves experiencing frustration, anger, anxiety, and conflicts. These emotional storms can leave us feeling lost and unsettled, as if we are being consumed by a tempest of emotions. In this ever-changing world, we yearn for inner peace and clarity, a wisdom that can help us better understand ourselves, cope with life's setbacks and challenges, and cultivate harmonious relationships. Zen Buddhism, as a branch of Buddhism, offers such wisdom, emphasizing inner calm, patience, and spiritual practice to achieve inner serenity and wisdom. Through a story set in a small village, let's explore the teachings of Zen and how to apply them in real life, especially in dealing with relationships and emotions. This story will lead us on an inspiring journey to explore the depths of our inner selves and philosophical insights. In a small village, there lived a young man named Allan. Allan's life seemed to be constantly filled with setbacks and difficulties. Much like an ongoing storm, every day, he felt a deep well of anger and pessimism within him. Allan's days were far from easy. He frequently encountered work challenges and struggled to find stable employment. His relationships with friends and family often remained strained. With frequent arguments, these issues left him feeling restless and anxious. One evening, as darkness fell, Allan sat in his room, brows furrowed with worry. He sought answers, a way to free himself from his inner turmoil. So, he decided to visit a nearby ancient temple, seeking solace for his troubled soul. The temple was nestled in a tranquil valley, surrounded by towering trees. As he entered the temple, Allan saw a wise Zen master sitting in meditation. Deeply absorbed in his practice, approaching the Zen master, Allan humbly bowed and said, "Respected Zen master, I feel that my life is filled with setbacks and difficulties, and my inner self is plagued by anger and pessimism. Can you offer me some guidance?" The Zen master smiled faintly and asked, "Young man, how do you make muddy water clear?" Allan thought for a moment and replied, "It's simple. You let the water sit quietly for a while." The Zen master nodded and said, "Exactly. Your situation is similar. You need to find inner peace and clarity." Allan inquired, "How can I achieve that?" The Zen master explained, "You need to learn patience, just like letting a bottle of muddy water settle naturally. As you learn patience, your inner self will gradually become serene, and your anger and pessimism will gradually fade away." Allan, upon hearing this, began to contemplate the negative emotions that troubled him. He realized that he needed to learn patience, just as murky water needed time to become clear. This conversation sparked his interest, and he sought the Zen master's guidance on how to begin his practice and learn patience. The Zen master told Allan that the path of practice is not easy, but it leads to inner peace. He invited Allan to stay at and commence learning the ways of Zen, focusing on breathing, meditation, and controlling inner emotions. Allan decided to heed the Zen master's advice. Allan stayed at the temple and embarked on his journey of practice. Each day presented its challenges as he wrestled to control his inner emotions, which was no easy task. He would sit in a serene room, attempting to focus his thoughts, but images of life's setbacks and conflicts constantly plagued his mind. The Zen master patiently guided him, teaching Allan to accept his inner emotions like a mirror, neither resisting nor indulging in them. Whenever anger or sadness gripped Allan, he tried to remain unaffected, like a still mirror. This process took time, but Allan persevered. He stuck to his daily meditation, concentrating on his breath and striving to calm his inner self. He started to notice that, through this process, he gained a better understanding of his emotions and gradually learned to accept them without being troubled. Nevertheless, the path of practice was not always smooth. There were days when Allan felt weary and struggled to control his emotions, But the Zen master encouraged him to persevere, explaining that patience was like a sharpening stone, making his inner self stronger and clearer. Gradually, Allan's inner self began to find serenity. He could confront life's challenges with greater composure, no longer succumbing to anger and pessimism. He began to experience inner peace. Akin to a clear pond, Allan understood that the path of practice is an ongoing journey, but he had taken the first firm step toward inner peace. He felt more liberated and capable of handling relationships and emotional issues wisely. Having learned the power of patience and practice, with time, Allan's practice continued to deepen, and his inner self became increasingly tranquil. He had learned the strength of patience. Just as murky water gradually settles and clears, so did his inner self, shedding its anger, anxiety, and pessimism. One day, Allan sat in the temple's courtyard, closing his eyes in meditation. He felt a gentle breeze on his face, leaves rustling softly, as if nature itself were breathing. Alongside him, he sensed the inner peace he had longed for. His patience was bearing fruit. The Zen master noticed Allan's transformation. He said, "Allan, your inner self has become serene, and you have mastered the power of patience. But remember, practice never stops. Every day is a new beginning, and every moment is an opportunity to elevate your inner state." Allan felt grateful. He knew that practice is a lifelong journey. However, he had taken a solid step forward. He began to ponder Zen teachings more deeply, especially how to apply them to life, particularly in dealing with relationships and emotions. Back in his own village, Allan started applying what he had learned to real life. A friend with whom Allan had previously clashed noticed his change. Allan's newfound calm and understanding began to influence his friend, who inquired about Allan's practice. Allan directed him to the temple, where he could learn the art of patience and practice. A family member who had grown distant also felt the change in Allan. They began to reconnect and mend their fractured relationship. Allan's home became a more harmonious place, filled with understanding and support. Allan's practice journey grew deeper and more meaningful. He was no longer the young man, consumed by anger and pessimism, but had become an inner beacon of calm. His influence extended beyond the temple, spreading throughout the entire village. The people of the small village also became curious about Zen teachings. Allan often shared his experiences and wisdom with them, helping them find inner peace and harmony in life. His home transformed into a lively place of discussion, where people gathered to explore the depths of their inner selves and philosophical insights. In our lives, we frequently encounter moments that make us feel anger, frustration, or anxiety. These emotions can seem to engulf us like a raging flood, making it challenging to think clearly. Zen Buddhism emphasizes the importance of patience. Patience is not passive endurance. It's an active inner strength that allows us to control our emotions and not be swayed by them. Through inner peace and clarity, we can better understand the emotions and needs of others, enabling us to build deeper connections and reduce conflicts and arguments. Therefore, patience and practice are not just devout religious practices. They represent wisdom about personal growth and life philosophy. They can help us better cope with life's challenges, foster harmonious relationships, and achieve inner serenity and tranquility in the fast-paced and complex modern life. The teachings of Zen remind us that inner peace and clarity are a precious asset that we can achieve through the path of patience and practice.